Me, Claire, at the Academy of Model Aeronautics, and I am so happy to welcome you back to the second day of AMA Junior Camp. Today's project is going to be pretty fun, and if you've ever done anything with the Academy of Model Aeronautics before, you've probably done this project once or twice. So today is July 7th, 2020. It's 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It's the second day of AMA Junior Camp here with the Academy of Model Aeronautics. I'm your host, Claire, and we are going to make an FPG-9.
I'm really excited to see this happen, Claire, and I'm excited that you can hear me. And I'm Kyle Jarris. I'm the Education Director at the Academy of Model Aeronautics, and I'm going to echo Claire and just say welcome to the party. This is going to be a lot of fun. FPG-9s are one of my favorite things that we have here at the AMA, and Claire is an awesome teacher. I'm going to learn right along with y'all.
Absolutely. The FPG-9 was actually the first project I learned upon coming to the AMA, and since then I have probably made
a couple.
I'm going to say at least 1,000.
Awesome.
I've made a lot of them. So I just want to welcome everybody again. And I also want to say thank you to a few of our campers yesterday. Joe, Suman, Maverick, you all sent me some really amazing videos of you flying your favorite airplanes. And I just love that. So if you want to take any videos of yourself flying your FPG-9s today, be sure to do that and send it to me at education@modelaircraft.org. All right, everybody, we're going to switch to our overhead camera now because we are going to get out one of our project folders. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, this one was a lot of fun.
So we've got project number 2 here, and I'm just going to go ahead and open it up. Let's see what we got today. All right. So we've got, of course, the project guidelines and a cool little,
Ooh, something's rattling in there.
Yeah,
I don't know what that could be.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got, I think that's everything that came in the bag.
So for those of you that have the flight pack, this is exactly what you should be opening right now too. But don't fret if you're just joining in and you don't have the flight pack. Obviously, we've got the downloadable instructions, and Claire just pulled it out, the foam plate.
Yes. So this is for everybody who did not get a flight pack. This is just a foam plate, 9-inch foam plate. That's where the FPG-9 name comes from. And so I'm going to be building both versions of the project today. So no matter what materials you have at home, you're going to be able to follow along. And don't forget, everybody, to grab your, what I like to call your pizza box, because there are a couple things in here that we're going to need today, including our tape. Yes, we did get money. That's right, Katrina. I have 4 whole cents here. I am rich.
You got 4? Wait a minute.
I got 4.
Oh, I got 3. Wow, you got lucky.
I think I got a nice, more expensive pack here. And so I'm also grabbing my scissors. And that is about it from our pizza box today that we're going to need for today's project.
Is it okay if I cheat, Claire, and I use bigger scissors?
I'm going to allow it, but I don't usually let the students use grown-up scissors.
Okay, well, thank you.
But today I'll make an exception. All right, everybody, here's your project number 2. And if you did not get the flight pack, this is downloadable off of our website. So don't worry, everything that you need is available. And we have, all of our goals and objectives, how to build the FPG-9, and a brief history of the FPG-9s. These are a really cool project. I'm actually a really big fan of the FPG-9 because it's actually nationally recognized, which I think is kind of cool. So the FPG-9 was invented in 2002 by a National Model Aviation Museum volunteer named Jack Reynolds. And Jack really wanted to create a model airplane project for classrooms that was really easy to use and easy to create. And so he decided to go home and work with his granddaughter, I believe, and they came up with making something out of a foam plate, which I think is really, really creative. It's kind of like what we're doing today. Everything, just about everything that we're going to be building this week is out of stuff that you probably have at your house already. And if you did not get the flight pack, but you can download the our project layout, there is a template here. Here's the template, and then you would put this onto, after cutting it out, trace it, and then you would create your project. So we're going to get started with the version of the project that came with the flight pack, and then we will transition into the FPG9 that comes on the foam plate. So you can create as many as you want. And I have, let's see, I have 3 of the pre-cut, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, it looks like, of the uncut ones. And so I'm going to do 2 of each so that we have lots to play with here, in case anybody from the office wants to join in a little bit later.
I'm going to jump in real quick and just say John Key mentioned that they did this project as an aviation merit badge in Scouts.
Yes.
That's really cool. And then someone was jumping in and saying they didn't have a foam plate. You know what? You could get it along if you have a paper plate that's 9 inches. I've used that before. They don't fly quite as well, but I wanted to throw that out also.
Yeah, a paper plate will also work. It's not going to be quite as good. The material actually works better if you use a foam plate, but that's totally okay. You're still going to come out with something pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And like Kyle said, yes, this is actually part of the Boy Scouts of America Merit Badge for Aviation. If you happen to be going into Boy Scouts eventually when you're a little bit older, I know that all kids can be Boy Scouts now, which is really exciting. That's something I always wanted to do as a kid. But when you open up the Merit Badge Handbook, you actually can see that the FPG9 is the project. It's one of, I probably should know which requirement it is, but it's definitely in there. And so it's from us. We made that, which I think is really cool. A lot of people don't know that. So
definitely cool. We
are going to, like I said, start with the pre-cut foam plate and move on from there. All right, so I'm going to move aside the instructions because let me tell you guys, I could probably do this. I don't need these, surprisingly. I could probably do this with my eyes closed. So the pre-cut FPG9s that came with your kit, you actually don't need the scissors right now. That's not something that you necessarily are going to need because they are scored. So see, I just snapped the 2 pieces apart. Very easy. So I'm going to just go ahead and do that with both of my airplanes, and don't be afraid to just bend it a little and get it snapped off. Awesome. Okay, so the next step is really easy. I almost feel like I don't need to tell you guys.
I might have worked ahead a little.
All right, well, you know. Sometimes you skip ahead. So you're going to take this piece right here, and I kind of think it looks a little bit like a shark fin, and thankfully I have a little bit different lighting today so you can see the details on the foam plate a little bit better. You guys see how it's scored here, here, and here on the other side, right? So we're going to take this side, so the curved side of our fin, and we're going to put it in this vertical cut, or sorry, this cut through the middle right there. And you're going to fit it snugly in there, just like that. There we go. And see, it is vertically, well, it's more or less, it will be vertical in a moment here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with both of mine so that you can see, just in case anybody, I did see in the comments that some people's videos are freezing, so hopefully this will give you a chance to catch up. And so again, there is a cut here, here, and here. We're going to utilize this cut right here on this part of our aircraft. And so we're just going to fit it in right just like that. And the next step, this next step is a little bit, it can be a little bit difficult. We're going to get our tape, and we're going to get a piece of tape, and we're going to fold down. This is our vertical stabilizer, by the way. We're going to fold it down against the body of the aircraft, and right here, we are going to place a little piece of tape. Now, if there's anybody out there whose parents work for 3M, which is the company that makes Scotch tape, Please make Scotch tape that has a color to it, because it would be way easier for me to do this project with people. But I'm loving this vertical camera. It's really helpful for me. Usually I do this for a whole classroom of kids, and it can be kind of difficult to show this process to them because the tape is so difficult to see. So again, anybody out there watching, if you work for 3M, please make me some maybe blue tape, red tape, green tape. I don't care. I'm not picky with the color.
I vote blue. I vote blue.
Blue would be nice. Blue would go really well with all of our AMA stuff.
I'm just saying, you know.
So go ahead and make me some colored tape, please. I would really appreciate that. And
somebody's going to say masking tape, but it's just not the same.
Plus, masking tape is heavier, and we want this to be as light as possible, except for one specific aspect. And someone suggested green. I agree with you, Ethan. I think green would be a great color for the tape. That's actually one of my favorite colors. So our airplane's looking pretty good right now. I'm a big fan of it. And so it's the problem with it, though, like once we get our vertical stabilizer, we make it vertical, nice and evened out, it's looking pretty good. It's starting to look like an airplane a little bit, right? A little bit of a flying wing. However, it's not going to fly particularly well. So if we were to fly it, it just flips around and does nothing, and it's just kind of an embarrassment. You embarrass me, FPG9. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our pennies. We're all a bunch of very rich people right now with our 4 pennies.
3.
We're going to take our pennies or 3, excuse me. We're going to take our pennies, and you guys see on your airplane, you see how there is a nose to your aircraft right here. This is where we're going to put penny. And so I like to describe it as kind of like the cockpit of the aircraft. And so this is your pilot. Abraham Lincoln is your pilot, even though in reality he was not around for the invention of human-powered flight, but we're going to disregard that because this is not a history camp. This is an aviation camp. We're going to fold over the little pocket, and we're going to put, I hear Kyle dropping something. That's never good.
I've got 2 more. I'm good.
It's terrible. So you get your penny in there, and the way I like to do this is doing a crisscross of tape so that the penny stays nice and secure. So our friend Abe Lincoln stays nice and secure inside of the cockpit of our aircraft. And if you have more than, man, over here, he has 5 pennies. He's richer than both of us. I don't know why I didn't get 5 pennies. That's kind of unfair. So I'm going to add the second penny to my second aircraft here. These are very shiny pennies. Wow.
Yeah, we had a mix when we packed these. There were some that we had already, but then we went out and got some brand new 2020 pennies, which I hear are somewhat hard to come by nowadays with all the change that's being hoarded.
Yeah, so you guys are lucky that you got some pennies because, change is kind of hard to come by right now. So you hang on to these after we're done with the project.
They'll be worth something.
All right, so this is the FPG9. Look at that. Check that out. That's pretty cool. So that looks pretty good to me. And so this is the version of the project that came in the flight pack. And don't worry, especially Tyler, don't worry, I'm going to be doing another version of the FPG9 for everybody that needed to trace their aircraft. And once we build them, I will show you how to fly them. So we don't really need to fly them just yet. I'm going to set these aside. And if you happen to get additional projects in your kit, if you purchase the flight kit and you got additional projects, go ahead and make another one. Okay, so I'm going to grab my my foam plates. There we go. My foam plates here. And this is going to be my I've lost my train of thought, you guys. Sorry. So this project, you know what, Levi, you kind of just got a random amount of pennies. Don't worry. You need at least one. So if you have at least 1 penny in your project, that's enough. But people got random amounts of pennies. I did not pack the pennies. I just I designed this project, so I did not pack the pennies. That was not my job.
So as the guy that packed the pennies, I'm sorry if I gave you more or less. But if you need a refund, let me know, and I will send you more pennies if it's a problem.
There you go. Kyle will be held personally responsible for sending additional pennies.
Yes, I will raid my children's piggy banks.
I hope they're not watching. So right. All right, so we got a question from he asked, what is the outline for the FPG-9 on the paper for?
Great question.
So this is so that you can trace the FPG-9 design onto your foam plates. So at home, if you have a pack of these foam plates, maybe left over from 4th of July, for example, from your 4th of July barbecue, you would cut out this design and you would place it onto the plate, and then you would trace it and then cut it out. And then I also had a question from where are the plates from? These plates, these usually I run down to Target or Walmart and I grab a pack of these. You can get 300 of them for like $2.99 at the store. They're very inexpensive, and you can just run through and trace them as you go. And then somebody asked if you don't already have the outlined ones, this is how you do it, how you get them outlined. And you probably shouldn't say that you're not satisfied with your pennies in the chat, because now we know. Now we know.
Yeah, somebody's not getting any more pennies.
And you don't have to tape the paper outline onto one of the airplanes. It can be easier to trace it if you want to do that, but you don't necessarily have to. But go ahead and do it if you want. Mm-hmm. So it does make it a little easier. See, I usually have a template that I trace here at the AMA that I drop on top. It's just another foam. What is it? Foam template. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say that might be worse since they have 3. If you keep one of them behind as that template, it makes it a little bit easier. Yeah, you could there's a little bit of a ridge.
Oh my gosh, this is different. That's so weird.
It's a little bit different, yeah.
So you would just place your extra FPG-9 art pre-cut one out onto your plate, and you could just trace it with a pen, with just like a ballpoint pen. Yep. Very easy. So we are going to start on these. And the thing that I like to do, I like to start cutting it from the nose of the aircraft. And again, I really like this drop-down camera. This makes it so much easier.
Oh, for sure. It's really clear.
So thank you to our producer for setting this up for me. Yeah, Laura, I figured out your scam. What a shame. So I cut out these 2 lines right here on the plate, just like that. And now I'm going to start cutting on the edge here. And the reason I'm cutting it this way is that the foam is pretty delicate, and so it can be difficult to cut it without breaking the foam. So we're going to get rid of that. And then we're going to turn it around. We're going to cut this side. And I'm going to do this with both of my airplanes, so don't worry if you fall behind. We'll catch you up.
Now, it's kind of fun to cut out your own, even if you got the flight packs, because you can make a few little modifications, too, and just try to do some experimentation. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. You can do a lot with this. And see, you guys see this little line right here? We're going to cut on that line. There we go.
Let's see. I don't know if there we go. Let people judge my cutting.
I'm going to do that on the other one as well. So I'm going to start by cutting right here. So Irina left us a great question. When I graduate university, I do have consideration of working for AMA. What education did you receive? That's a great question, Irina. I actually have a master's degree in museology. That's a fancy word for museum studies, with a focus in informal education and a certificate in nonprofit administration. So you could say I'm pretty qualified to be building airplanes with you guys today. So I'm just going ahead and cutting this out. Someone mentioned that this sounds like ASMR, and I personally don't think so, because I
Well, let me
cut
get
so
really
many.
close to my mic. Let's see here.
I cut so many of these out that it's not very relaxing for me.
The sound of work, huh?
Yeah, it's the sound of work. So this might be fun for you guys, but this is my job.
But your job's pretty cool too, though.
It's pretty fun. I get to run a summer camp. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? So my friends, the next step we're going to be cutting along this line down the middle of both sides of our aircrafts. And the way that I do this, if you watch, it's not all the way across. I actually will stop in the middle, turn it around, and cut the other way. They asked, how long have you been doing this? Great question, Kimberly. I actually have about 10 years of experience in the museum field, but I've been here for about 4 years now. So I've been, like I said, I've probably made about 1,000 of these, if not more, because I also take these aircraft to schools, and I also take them to events like with the Girl Scouts and with the Boy Scouts and people like that. So great question.
I'm trying to think of how long I've been building FPG 9 specifically. It probably, I mean, I guess I built one when I first started working at the AMA, but before that it was all like Delta darts and whatnot as a kid. So,
well, did you do Boy Scouts, Kyle?
you know what? I was a Cub Scout for a little bit, and then I dropped out after the Pinewood Derby race. I did such a terrible job. I couldn't show my face anymore. So, so there's that. Womp womp.
All right, guys, our next step, now that we've learned Kyle's great Pinewood Derby shame, we're going to go ahead and cut out this, the vertical stabilizer that we had earlier with our flight kit aircraft.
Oh, that's cool. We're looking forward to seeing that.
Oh, I can't wait. Your guys' videos have really been making my day after the morning sessions. I spend the rest of my morning sending them to everybody at the AMA and saying, look at this. They had
Did
so
you get the
much
one
fun.
that I sent from my niece, Betta?
I have not seen that one yet.
Oh, I have to share that with you. It was really cute.
Oh, that's awesome.
So hi, Betta, if you're watching.
Oh, Henry, that's a great question. How do we get you to come to our school? We live in Wisconsin. You know what? I would love to come to your school in Wisconsin. What I want you to do is email Chad Budrow, chadb@modelaircraft.org. He's my boss's boss. He's Kyle's boss, too. Tell Chad that you want me to come to your school in Wisconsin. Maybe we can work something out once the pandemic's over. I would love that.
The other thing, though, is we actually have a grant through the Arconic Foundation. And through that grant, we supply all these materials to teachers so that they can share these in their classrooms. So if you really want to get this kind of curriculum in your classrooms, and who doesn't, because it's fun to fly model airplanes, have your teacher reach out to us as well, and we'll get them in touch with more details, and they can do these things in your class for free.
That's right. All you have to do is email us, education@modelaircraft.org, and we'll give you all the information for how to get all this stuff in your classes. Now, I don't know about the other states, but here in Indiana, the 4th grade is when people tend to learn about aviation. So that is typically my focus. That is the focus in the flight pack right here with the goals and objectives and the different sorts of educational standards. I base these on the Indiana State Educational Standards. So they might be a little different where you live, but they're no less exciting or fun, because learning is fun.
Yeah. And the Indiana standards are pretty close to the federal ones as well. So, depending on the state by state, there might be some variation, but at the end of the day, you're building something, you're having fun, and you're learning. And like, what better opportunity is that? So most teachers that we tell about the program, they're really excited and they incorporate this into their curriculum as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I saw a comment a little bit up. You guys are chatting so much, but I saw someone saying that, asking about what kind of careers you can go into using model airplanes.
That's a great question.
You know what? Half of this camp is dedicated to teaching people what you can do with your interest in model aviation. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but at 2 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to sit down with another one of my friends, and we're going to talk about how model aviation inspired him. So the next step in our project, we have to actually cut all these lines out. They didn't come pre-cut like on the, like in the flight pack ones that came in the mail. So we're gonna go ahead and just snip these, each one of these. So we have a question from Son of a Firefighter. For people who are accepted in Camp AMA next year, since camp was canceled, do we qualify already for next year? If you applied for camp this year for the physical in-person sleepaway camp here at the International Aeromodeling Center, I believe you are already on the docket to come next year. So
the only caveat would be is if you turn 18 in the time being.
If you turn 18 before camp next year, then you cannot come, because camp is only for kids 13 to 17.
And keep in mind too, this is a great opportunity to talk about the actual camp a little bit. Every district, the AMA has 11 districts across the country and territories of the United States. And each district does sponsor at least one youth as a scholarship, a full ride scholarship to come to camp every year. So, if you're thinking about coming sometime, we would love to have you. Reach out to your district vice president as an AMA member, and there's an application process, because sometimes the competition's a little fierce to receive that scholarship. But and sometimes the district VP might say, look, I've got 2 kids that are amazing. They're both deserving, and I'm going to support both of them. So there's always a chance. So look into it that way.
We also had a question about when does camp take place if there wasn't a pandemic. It actually would have taken place the second full week of June this year. So unfortunately, we had to skip out, but it gave us a lot more time to plan this experience for you guys. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now, we're going to start assembling these FPG-9s that we built out of a foam plate, and I'm pretty excited about that. So once again, we're going to take our shark fin. Oh no! Oh my gosh, I didn't cut this one. That's so funny. See, you have to do
follow the directions.
All of the directions.
Oh man, that's funny.
Let's see how. Just asked me a question. How old do you have to be in the camp? You have to be 13 years old to come to Camp AMA, and you can keep coming back to Camp AMA until you are 17 years old. So you have quite a few years to come visit us here at camp.
And we usually have between 30 and 40 kids that attend camp. We've been doing it for a long time, and have made a really great impact on these kids' lives. And so a lot of that goes back to the leadership that was here previous to Claire and I's participation in the education department. So credit where due there. Jesse did a great job with building that camp up, and we're continuing it. We're bringing in a lot more STEAM activities every morning. With different lessons that Claire and the rest of the education team has worked to come together with, and to be honest, these projects are so good that we had planned for this year that Claire and I talked about it, and we're like, let's just do it again next year. So we're being a little bit mum or a little bit quiet on what some of those projects are, because we don't want to let the cat out of the bag too early. But needless to say, going forward, every year we're going to have great activities. So definitely keep it in mind as an option as you get a little older and get into model aviation.
That's right. And I saw a question in the chat whether or not we were going to do junior camp again next year. Honestly, I would really love to do junior camp again. I've been having a lot of fun with you guys, and it seems like you guys are having a good time too. So I think there's a definite possibility that junior camp will happen again for everybody who's a little bit too young to come to the in-person camp.
I think so. It's a great primer. It gets people excited. It teaches people those fundamentals and those building blocks that then you build on to do radio control or larger free flight models. Building balsa stuff, finding mentors, and becoming an AMA member. These are all steps in this journey to learning model aviation and even having a career to some earlier points in model aviation. And so I see no problem with continuing it. I'm excited to do so. You look at it, we had over 600 registrants for this camp.
Yeah.
And we couldn't do that in person. We really couldn't. The manpower it would take to do that and to facilitate that, at this point, we just can't. So this is a way to, I guess, cast the net a little wider when it comes to educating people and just having a good time. So yeah, we'll continue it.
Absolutely. All right, guys, are you ready to get back to the next part of our project? Now that we're done talking about Camp AMA, which is obviously
we're never done talking about Camp AMA. Come on.
That's like 90% of my job. And also, I agree with the Smithsonian Museum. The Air and Space Museum is one of my favorite places in the whole wide world.
Yep.
It is probably my dream museum. So if anybody's out there from Air and Space, I'll come do a camp there.
Yeah, please. Yeah, let us know how to help out. We'll work on making that happen.
So I'm adding tape once again to our to the vertical stabilizer. And again, anybody out there from 3M, please make some blue, red, green, orange tape for me. And I'm going to flip it on both sides. And we had a quick question from, where is Camp AMA? It's right here at the International Aeromodeling Center, right here in Muncie, Indiana. So it is in East Central Indiana. It's about an hour from the Indianapolis airport. So we're not too far away from the nearest international airport. So kids can come from all over the place to come see us.
Yeah, and at the IAC here, we have 1,100 acres of flying sites. There's multiple sites spread out across the campus. It really is, we call it the IAC, the International Aeromodeling Center. It's a world-class place to fly. So whether you're flying an FPG-9 or whether you're flying some kind of a 3D aerobatic, large-scale aircraft, whatever it is, turbines, we have jets that come out here.
We have all kinds of cool stuff.
That's cool stuff.
I had a question from asking if she doesn't have a printer to print out these materials. I know some libraries in some states are starting to open up. A lot of times libraries will have printers for you. You can also ask a friend if they happen to have a printer at their house. And I think that's about it. That's about all I got for you right now.
I'll tell you what. If you need, and it wouldn't come in time for the actual camp most likely, but if you send Kyle J at modelaircraft.org an email or education@modelaircraft.org, I will print these out for you and send them to you. I don't want anyone to not have these materials if it's something that's easy to achieve on my end. I'll definitely do that. But obviously, if you have somewhere in your town, like the library that might be open, that'd be a little faster for you. And then you could participate in these projects moving forward a little bit easier. But just so you know, our plan is to continue hosting Camp AMA even after the fact. We'll make all these videos available in the future, so hopefully soon. And so all of that will be downloadable. You can watch these videos. Maybe they'll edit some different parts out here and there, but that way you can still experience Camp AMA after the actual event.
Sounds good to me. We had a question from if Neil Armstrong came to Camp AMA. Unfortunately, Camp AMA was not around at the time, but he was, in fact, an AMA member. Can you believe that? So Neil Armstrong actually, he contributed his career at NASA to his love of model aviation, which I think is just incredible. We actually celebrated that last summer for the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. So
and that article was in the magazine that went out too with these boxes too, so that could be where they're kind of pulling some of that content from. And yeah, I like to think he would have come to Camp AMA. Is that
I would have
fair?
loved that too. Yeah, that would have been amazing.
and
of
likewise,
course, that would mean that we were immortal and ageless. Don't worry about it, campers.
We're just very youthful.
All right, guys, let's get back to building. Now that we are done talking about not being vampires. All right, drop down camera, please. So I have my 2 pennies. And once again, we're going to put Abraham Lincoln in the pilot's seat. We're going to fold it over just like that. And like I said before, just crisscross your tape this way and the other way as well, just to make sure he's nice and snug. I'm going to do that with both of them.
jumped in and said, future astronaut in the making at Camp AMA. And that's what I like to think. I like to think someone here is watching and they're going to be enjoying themselves on Mars someday. Like, that's just really cool to think about.
Please shout out to us when you're on Mars.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. There was another question asking what I did here at the AMA. So I'm the education director here at the Academy of Model Aeronautics. And so as such, I get to play with these things and participate in trying to get these educational components out there. I work with some great individuals. Obviously, Claire, right there. She's a huge part of the education department. Really appreciate her efforts and her intellect and her enthusiasm. So it's definitely a team environment that we work in here. And as far as some of my history in air modeling, I got started when I was about 11 years old, and I got started with a Delta Dart. That was the first thing I built. So
awesome. Well, thank you, Kyle. And while Kyle was saying how great and amazing I am, which I am, I finished my FPG 9s. Yay! So here are the two that came in the flight pack. Here are the two that I made from the traced plates. And before we fly, I just want to say I'm really excited that a lot of you are saying that you want to come visit us at AMA headquarters next time you're heading out on a road trip. Don't forget to visit the National Model Aviation Museum, which is the history arm of the AMA. They have over 12,000 artifacts in the collection, and it's the world's largest model aviation museum, which is pretty cool, in my opinion.
It's an excellent stop.
And you might even get a tour from me. If you ask nicely, if you ask ahead, email me at education@modelaircraft.org, and you might just get a tour from me when you come visit. And be sure to say that you came to camp, okay? All right, my friends, here are beautiful airplanes, and I'm going to tell you how you are going to fly them, which is pretty exciting. So we're going to take our aircraft, and we're going to hold it. There we go. I'm going to hold it up a bit. You're going to hold it from the underside of the vertical stabilizer. You're going to hold it about shoulder height, and you will toss it gently away from you. Just like the paper airplanes from yesterday, these have a very similar flying pattern and method of flight. And they're quite easy to fly. They fly pretty well, in my opinion. This is another one that you can fly both indoors and outdoors. But again, please ask permission to fly them inside. Parents, grandparents, guardians, please don't blame me if the kids fly them inside. I told them to ask permission. Do not email me about this. So make sure that you ask permission to fly before you fly this indoors.
Or outdoors, for that matter.
Or outdoors. Yeah, you don't want to fly it. My neighbors, I actually gave them a handful of FPG 9s because that's just what I do. I'm a good neighbor. I hand out FPG 9s. And I gave the boys next door a bunch of them, and a whole bunch of them ended up on my roof. So I really didn't mind. I thought it was awesome, but it was pretty hilarious that, they ended up on my rooftop, and I had to climb up there and get them.
Shout out to yeah.
Oh, hi. It looks like, I know your dad. I work with your dad. He's very nice.
He's okay.
I think he's nice.
I'm kidding. He's awesome.
like her dad. He's a nice guy. All right, my friends, we're going to go ahead and give these a try. So make sure your vertical stabilizer is nice and nothing has gone interplanetary. Well, not. I don't think these have ever gone interplanetary.
No.
I don't think so. I don't think anybody's ever taken these to space. And I will not be responsible if somebody hits someone else in the eye, because I told you not to fly them indoors unless you got permission. So. Yeah,
well, it's important to remember too that as Claire gets ready to throw this, like all these control surfaces, will change how this flies, and it'll do it very well. So you've got these elevons, so they're kind of elevators and ailerons put together on this model because it's right there at the back. There's no traditional tail section, so that means those control surfaces are combined. But you also have a traditional vertical stabilizer and rudder. And as Claire gets all that set up, like what I find that flies the best for me is to give a little bit of up at the back, which means I'm going to bend these, this way. Right at the back edge here, and and that's good for your first flights. Give it a gentle toss. Don't really throw it, and you should have a lot of success. But you can make these go to the right, go to the left. How'd it do, Claire?
That was actually pretty good.
Yeah?
This isn't a very big room, so it can't go too far, but it actually flew quite nicely.
That's awesome.
You know, we had a question from Johnny about whether or not we cut these out or if we have a machine that cuts them out. And so we actually have a company that we work with right here in Indiana, I believe, and they machine cut these for us. The ones.
Yeah, it's actually a die cut process. It's out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. So obviously these are most likely manufactured outside the country, but they are finished here in the United States. So they're stamped out, and they do a great job for us, and we appreciate it. There are other methods that we've used in the past to get these produced. You know, there's some that we've done with laser cutting, which ends up looking wonderful. It gets a beautiful cut on those, but the cost was a little bit high. So we ended up going with the die cut option because it was the best balance between the cost and the quality.
Yeah, exactly. So I really like these. I like the pre-cut ones for sending out, like for camp, for example. It makes it a lot easier for you guys, and we don't have to send plates in the mail.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go ahead and toss my second one. And so last time I folded my ailerons or elevons up. This time I'm going to fold them down. You know what, Elijah? I hope you are the generation that takes these into space. That would make me so happy. I would love that. That would make my day.
Heck yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to toss this one. And so
right,
that
Claire,
one kind of went, whoop.
I was going to say, guess on the comments, you know, what it did. No, these are really great flyers. Okay, you've had too much fun. I'm going to turn around and try and throw these things. Let's see if we can get this to work. There we go. At least it goes across the office. Oh, sorry, I think I hit the picture of my wife. But they worked well.
I really hope your kids aren't watching today. All right, I'm going to go ahead and toss mine.
Okay.
See how it goes.
We're watching.
I'm not doing any elevons. And it hits some equipment. It's not expensive. Oh my gosh, I hear myself echoing now. All right, I'm going to fold these down this time. And then I will be out of FPG 9s. I won't have any more. Ooh, did you guys see that? That was pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. That was awesome. Great. So our FPG 9s are somewhere across the room. And I am really happy. It seems like you guys had a good time. So make sure you take videos of yourselves flying them. Send them to me at education@modelaircraft.org. And additionally, I want you guys to remember to join me and Kyle for this afternoon's session with my friend, AJ Jaffe, who is our special guest. So he's going to be here at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and he's going to sit down with us and tell us a little bit about his career in aerospace, as well as his hobby and his love for model aviation. I'm pretty excited. AJ's a great guy. I think you guys are really, really going to like him, and I think we're going to have a really good time. So again, today is Tuesday, July 7th, 2020. We had a great time making FPG 9s this morning, starting from 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And I had a great time with you guys. I'm so glad that you decided to stop by, especially those of you who are in a different time zone. It's a little early for you. And the parents who do not have their coffee yet. Well, I'm really happy you guys stopped by. Make sure to tune in this afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for a chat with AJ Jaffe. Thanks again. See you guys all later.